Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan Ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswatiji.
Welcome everyone to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. Stages of life, right dharma, right path. And so we've talked on a couple different occasions about the 4 traditional stages that are given to us in the Indian spiritual tradition that our life tends to go through sequentially for most people. First stage being what we call brahmacharya ashram, your student years. Your dharma is study. Then grihastashram, your householder years, where your dharma really is to be a husband, a wife, a mother, a father, and to do your duties, whether it's taking care of the home, the kids, bringing home the bread, whatever it may be. Taking care of your aging parents. But your dharma really is within the household at that time. And then we've got the 2 stages of moving away from that. Vanprast, a sort of slow retreat. The kids are grown, married, taking care of themselves on their own, don't need me. Now shifting into a spiritual focus, and then ultimately into the sannyas phase of life, which even if you're not a monastic renunciant, as in someone like those of us in saffron robes who have taken these vows earlier in life, it's said that in the latter stages of life, that's where everyone should be before they actually die, in order to prepare yourself for the next stage of your soul's journey. So she asks, well, what if I'm not quite in one or the other? Is there space to not have to choose between shadi, which means marriage, and sadhu, which is the renunciation? There absolutely is space for that. And interestingly, there's space on both sides, meaning there's space for it in the not yet married stage, and there's space for it in the already married stage. There's lots of people I know who are married. Some have children, some don't. They are fulfilling their duties of the household happily, with love, with joy. But ultimately, even within that household, they are living in their minds and in their hearts the path of spirituality. They may not be a full, monastic celibate, but ultimately their mind and their heart is really focused on their spiritual path, much more than the entanglements and attachments within the family, even though they're acting in the family with love and duty and care. But their attention, their focus, their consciousness, their mind, their heart are not stuck and mired in the every minute aspect of that, the attachment of that. But rather they're living a sort of mental sannyasi life, even though the body is in a family. And then of course you have a situation where you say, well, at this stage where I am right now, who knows what tomorrow is going to be like? I want to focus on my spiritual path. I don't yet want to put myself into a situation in which all of my time, all of my energy, all of my focus is going to be accounted for by things of the family. And this is especially true in Indian families where a simple marriage isn't just a simple arrangement between two people, but it's actually entering into an entire family system and structure with many other people, all of whom have very clear ideas about how you should spend your time and what you should be paying attention to and what you should do and what should matter to you. And so there's a lot of people who say, you know, I'm not saying I'll never marry. I'm not saying I'm going to become a lifelong renunciant. But for now, I really want to focus on my spiritual path. Maybe I want to focus on my education more. Maybe I want to focus on something else in my life that takes me into my heart, into my personal dharma, rather than entering a family system drama or a family system dharma. And that's also okay. I mean, it's definitely not something you want to do once you've taken official vows of renunciation. But you haven't done that. You're not over there in a saffron sari. So we all are on different stages, different ways, different orders of things even. I mean, there's a lot of people who spend their early years maybe in some sort of monastic training and a deep spiritual training, and then a little bit later on end up actually getting married and having families. I mean, there's lots of stories in the West. A lot of the renowned meditation teachers from the Buddhist traditions spent years in ashrams, in monasteries, in monastic traditions, in their late teens, in their 20s, even into early 30s, and eventually ended up coming back and getting into families. And then, of course, you have it the other way as well. You have people who get married, do all of that starting young, and then decide, oh, wait, this isn't what I'm supposed to do for the next 50 years of my life. And they do whatever they need to do of their duty, and then they're on a path of renunciation. And then, of course, you've got those, like I already spoke about, who are sort of in two at the same time almost. And that's all good. Life isn't black or white. Life is not meant to be lived in compartments. We're not items for sale that we need a label on us. I mean, if you go to a store, you need to know, okay, or a grocery store, right? Are these Granny Smith apples, or are these Gala apples, or are these, Honeycrisp apples? You want to know. What kind of apples am I buying? You need a label. If you're buying toothpaste, you want to know, what is this? Is this the all-natural kind that I want, or is this, some chemical-laden synthetic kind? But we're not for sale. We're not items in a rack or at some sort of, garage sale that people are going to come and look over and buy. We don't need labels. Walk your path. And as you walk it, stay very open, stay very receptive. I mean, you obviously want to walk it with honesty and integrity. So you're not going to take vows of renunciation and celibacy while you're secretly living a householder life. You want to do whatever you do in full transparency and integrity. But whatever you do is exactly right for you. And it may be this for now, and then it may be something different. And as long as you're clear in you that you are fulfilling your own dharma, your spiritual dharma, your dharma in the world as you see it, that's all that matters. For me, I always say, as long as I'm good with God and I'm good with my guru, like that's all that matters. I don't actually have to make sure that every single random person in the society, in the community, thinks that I've made the right choice. You'll kill yourself like that. Decide who it is that you need to be good with. For me, it's God and my guru. That's it. Decide who you need to be good with. And then stay focused on that. People who seem to have an abundance of time and energy to tell you how to live your life are clearly those who are not actually living theirs. So you want to be really careful whose advice you follow. A really good rule of thumb is only follow the advice of those who actually are somewhere you want to go. If you're going to ask directions from someone, you want to ask directions from someone who knows the way, who's actually ever reached where you're looking to go. Otherwise, their directions make no sense. So make sure that you're taking guidance from people who are living their lives in ways that when you look at it, you say, yeah, I want some of that. But those who tend to spend their lives telling others how to live are usually not those who themselves are living lives that are deeply full and deeply rich and deeply satisfying.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me.
There's two parts to that. The first part is what I speak about all the time, which is in order to hold this peace when you go, you have to really make it your own when you're here. It's really easy to be peaceful when you're anywhere other than your day-to-day grind. So simply not having to go to the office, simply not having long to-do lists, in and of itself leads to a state of peace and joy. But that's a very superficial level, because the moment you get back, it's over. What you want to make sure is that the peace you're experiencing here is deeper than just your lack of having to show up at the office, your lack of a to-do list, your lack of people saying, I need this, I need this, I need that. And the way to do that when you're here is exactly what you're doing. You want to be coming to Aarti, you want to be in Satsang, you want to be meditating, you want to be spending your time here, going deep. There's a lot to do in Rishikesh now. It wasn't always like that. There used to be sort of nothing to do here except meditate. Now, and I remember when the very first cyber cafe came up, but now there's so much you could do. I mean, you could spend your days in Rishikesh really busy, going from here to here and this and that and seeing this and this adventure and this tourist thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the dilemma is the peace you get tends not to sink in very deeply then. You really want to make sure that you have enough time in which you just stop. And you just allow this place to actually change you. This is a place where for thousands and thousands of years, the saints, the yogis have come to meditate. It's a place where if you go back to our scriptures from thousands of years ago, you go back to the Ramayana. Well, Lord Ram, Lakshman, they came here and did sadhana in this area. You go back to the Mahabharata. The Pandavas walked up into the Himalayas from here, meaning that thousands of years ago when these scriptures were written, many thousands of years ago, this was already a holy place to which these divine beings were coming already. It was already the path to heaven. So there's a power here that's much more than the number of yoga studios per square kilometer. And you've got to let yourself actually feel it while you're here. So that's the first part. Sit on the banks of Ganga. Meditate. Spend your time in spiritual programs. I'm not saying don't enjoy the food, don't enjoy things, do, no problem. But just make sure that your schedule includes that time to really go deep. And that it's not just like, okay, it's 2 p.m., this is my go deep time till my next class at 3 o'clock. Really create space for that to happen. The second piece, though, is the after you go back part. And this is where we realize the power of choice. As you say, yeah, we go back to traffic jams. Okay, well, let's look at a traffic jam. Okay, just take a traffic jam. Now, there's 2 ways of thinking about it. Number one, with the perspective of where I think I'm supposed to be. So this traffic jam is not supposed to be happening because I am supposed to be at the office, at the meeting, at my yoga class, at the airport, at this dinner, at home, And this traffic jam is now an obstacle on my path over which I have zero control. And when we have obstacles over which we have zero control, this is the stuff depression is made of. Life situations that seem out of our control, exactly the opposite of what we want, and there's nothing we can do about it, is the stuff that leads to misery. But there's a whole other perspective, which says, here I am. Here I am. That's it. Whether I thought I was going to be at home, or I thought I was going to be at a dinner, or I thought I was going to be at the office, clearly I was incorrect because I am not there. And if I was supposed to be there, I would be there. But by virtue of the fact that I am here, I understand I was incorrect in my assumption that I was supposed to be there. And here I am. And that's when you say, well, thank God, because there is this podcast I've been dying to listen to. Thank God I get to listen to the next chapter in this book I'm listening to. Oh, I can use this time to call that person I haven't connected with in such a long time, and I keep meaning to connect, but it's not going to be a 2-minute call. I really want to spend some time. This traffic jam is going to take me an hour. Great. Now I can make that call. Or, you know what? The universe gave me this traffic jam because I skipped my japa practice this morning. I didn't do the chanting that I do every morning. Came home late last night, hit the snooze button, skipped my japa, and I've been feeling kind of badly about it all day. The spiritual equivalent of moving through the day without having brushed my teeth. There's just something off all day long. And now the universe has said, just stop. And now I get to sit here for the next hour and do my japa. How wonderful. And the thing about our world is everybody understands traffic. I mean, assume that there is a meeting that they are expecting you at. What are they going to do? Say, leave your car and walk? I mean, really, what is anybody going to say to you? Abandon the car, get on a bus, fly? What do you mean you don't have a flying car? People understand, yeah, it happens sometimes. Totally out of your control. But it's all about our mindset. And so the key to holding that charge is changing your mindset. How many situations of the day make you feel like you're stuck? And how many options do you have? So, for example, let's say you got stuck in traffic day after day and you decided, forget it, I'm going to take the subway from now on. At least it runs by a reliable time schedule. Now you're on the subway in rush hour and you're jammed up against 200 other people and you can barely breathe. Okay. So again, one part of you may be, oh, I hate this is horrible, and this guy smells, and why this? But another alternative is, wow, I had forgotten that actually we are one. I had forgotten that there actually is no place I end and the rest of the world begins. Thanks, God, for jamming this person right up against me so that I would remember that. Because actually there's no place I end and she begins. Thanks for the reminder. Thanks for reminding me that actually we're all one. And this overcrowded subway car is just a physical manifestation of the multi-celled organism that humanity is. Thanks for the reminder. Thanks for the opportunity to be in such close contact with humanity. So it's all about how you think. So the mindset shift is key. And also just make sure that you create what we call a Sangha, your community. You know, the word Satsang, Sang is the association of, the community of. Sat is truth. So we typically define it as in the presence of truth. But it can also be used to talk about right association. Are you associating with truth? And so take care of your satsang when you go back. Who is your sangha? Who's your association? Meaning, who do you hang out with? Who's your community? And is it a community of truth? Or is it a community focused on, getting as drunk as you possibly can? Choose your sangha very wisely. Because that's going to be what your mind is focused on. If I'm surrounded by 10 people and all they're talking about is the clothes they're buying, how much they cost, what's in style, how things look, what accentuates different parts of the body. And one person is saying, God, my waist isn't thin enough, and another person saying my hips are too big, and another person saying my bust is too small, and someone saying mine is too big. No matter how strong my spiritual grounding may be, stick me with those people for long enough, and slowly, your own mind starts going, how am I doing over here? It's the energetic power of association. And so be really careful. Now, you can't choose your next door cubicle or your next door office or your next door neighbor. These are things mostly out of your control. But you can choose who you go for lunch with. You can choose who you spend your coffee breaks with. You can choose who you hang out with after work, who you hang out with over the weekends. And you can certainly choose the level of socializing you do with the person in the next cubicle or the next office or the house next to you, based on how similar their priorities are to yours. Make a really concerted, deliberate effort to surround yourself as much as you can with those who are in alignment with what you want. And you may find new things. You may say, well, God, in my other life, I don't have that. Well, that's really exciting. Find a new sangha. Find people who sing kirtan once a week or twice a week. Find people who are getting together to meditate. Find people who are getting together to read passages from different scriptures and discuss them. And if people aren't, create a group. I was just in Singapore a few weeks ago for a big conference, and while I was there, I had dinner at the home of the daughter of some very close devotees from many, many years, and their daughter now lives in Singapore, and she's young and newly married with young kids, and she's formed a group with a bunch of her other young friends who are mothers. They're all of different religions. And they get together, I think it's once a week, and they share passages, prayers from each of their different religions. And they discuss what that means and what that means for their lives. And these are young, hip, 20-something-year-old women creating a sangha in the midst of their other, sophisticated metropolitan society. So it may not exist already. Create it. Invite people over to sing kirtan. Invite people over to watch satsang and then talk about it. Invite people over to meditate. We've got that power to create it, because the truth is, if you've noticed that it doesn't exist and you're wanting it, I guarantee you're not the only one. I guarantee people aren't going to say, "What are you, crazy? Something spiritual? Oh, come on, let's just go get drunk." There will be people who will say, "Oh, thank God. Thank God, I've been wanting something like this so much." And you may start with 3-4 people. It doesn't have to be 30 people. As long as you've got a couple people, even 2. I would say 1, but sometimes 1 is busy. So you want to have at least 2 people in case 1 is busy, who you can spend time with. And then slowly, slowly, you'll attract others. So see what's already there, see what you can do, and then create it. I'm sure that even in our community here, the physical community here, the online community here, that there are going to be people from where you are. Where are you from? From France. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. I would bet we've got a lot of people from France who come to satsang and who watch it online and who are really interested in connecting in a French community. So you'll find it and create it. Yeah. And until then, just remember you've got your community here also. Even if we're not physically together, we're together. But create something where you live. It'll make all the difference for you.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation.
Why are humans attracted by Maya, means illusion, and not by devotion? Well, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, we're definitely attracted by Maya for sure. But we're also attracted by devotion. Maya is that energy of illusion that wraps itself like a veil around us and convinces us that we are this body, and therefore that all that matters is the body should enjoy pleasures, that we are our role in society, that we are our bank accounts, that we are our possessions. Therefore, we should spend all of our time and energy accumulating more and more money so we can have more and more possessions and more power and higher levels of social status. Maya pulls us outward, away from our hearts, away from our souls, away from truth, into all that glitters, essentially. And therefore Maya leads to suffering, because when I think that I am this body, and I think that I am its role, and I think that I am its possessions and its power and its relationships, and well, then there's never enough. Then I need more power, I need more money. Why does this guy have more than I do? Why does she have more than I do? Why this? Why that? It's not fair. Then there's greed, there's lust, there's competition, there's feelings of inadequacy. So Maya leads to suffering. And it's definitely a fact of life. It's there, it's sticky, it's the ever-present lure away from our spiritual practice. But the power of devotion is also very strong. And I wouldn't say we're attracted by Maya but not devotion. We are attracted by devotion. We love devotion. We love to love. It's why, with no advertising, many hundreds to many thousands of people show up at Ganga Arati every night. It's why people flood temples. It's why people all over the world are sitting in front of some beautiful image of the divine, or sitting not in front of an image because to them the divine is formless. But nonetheless, their eyes are closed and they're in prayer and love. So there is what we call a Shakti of bhakti, which is that power of devotion. And it absolutely pulls us. It's why, for example, whether you understand Sanskrit or Hindi or not, the arati feels so good. It's why, whether you are a Hindu or not, people love going to kirtan. They love going to devotional chanting. Whether you actually worship Krishna or Ram or Hanuman or Durga, it doesn't matter. I remember Puja Swamiji and I several years ago were in Sao Paulo, Brazil, at this huge event with 15,000 people in a big park. It was a Yoga for Peace event, big park of Sao Paulo. You've got, 15,000 Catholics mostly, chanting and singing in ecstasy with Jayutal, with Krishna Das. Now, they weren't turning people into Hindus. It wasn't that these people now were going home and actually worshiping in the Hindu tradition. But there's something about the power of devotion, of love for God, that feels so beautiful that it's going to draw thousands and thousands and thousands of people to come and to chant and to sing and to pray and to love and to be together, even if it's a completely different religion. That's bhakti ki shakti, or the power of bhakti, the power of love. So yes, Maya has a power. It is sticky. It blinds us. People talk about the veil of Maya, and it clouds our eyes. But for me, I've noticed it's a sticky veil, because when I think of a veil, I think of something that could very easily be blown away by the wind. Like just a little bit of breeze comes and the veil would be gone. Whereas Maya sticks. Maya, you have to actually, quite consciously and deliberately, work to free yourself from. But you can. Every moment you spend in meditation is a moment you're free of Maya. Every moment that you spend connected to your true self is a moment you've broken free of Maya. Every moment you spend in soul-to-soul connection with another being is a moment you've broken free of Maya. So we break through a lot. When we become mindless and unconscious, Maya gets sticky again. And this is why actually devotion is such a beautiful antidote to it. Because when you're in love, Maya doesn't stick. It's like that love of devotion is somehow greasy. It's like covering yourself with ghee or something that actually keeps the veil of Maya from sticking on you. And it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter how you conceive of the divine. But just to find love in your heart. Whether you say for God, whether you say for creation, whether you say for certain manifestations of creation, your grandmother, your loved one, your tree, a sunset, the stars in the sky, Ganga. But just that experience of real love that transcends what you want from someone, that transcends the sensory pleasure or ego gratification that you might get from them. That's actually a love of that divine essence in them. That's devotion. And so we're definitely attracted to that. It's a magnet. We just have to let ourselves go there rather than get wrapped up in Maya's sticky veil.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Alec Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with Inspiration and Transformation.
So, this idea that your life flashes before your eyes right when you die. Interestingly, this is an idea that transcends religions. I've heard people from every walk of life, every religion, every culture, every country. Usually our ideas about death tend to be very culturally and religiously related. This is one I've heard everywhere. I think that the reason it would be true, if it is true, at least according to our Vedic understanding of life and death, is that my next birth is going to be based upon the fruits of the karma, means the results of the actions of what I've done in this birth and in my past births. Some of my actions, their results happen immediately. As I always say, it's like a bar fight, right? I hit you, you hit me right back. We go home with black eyes, but our karmic relationship is over. We don't have to carry it into our next birth. But a lot of the actions that we do actually bear fruit later in this life or even in next life. And so to give us an awareness of why we're going where we're going, I could imagine it would be helpful to see and to suddenly understand, okay. I also think that it might make our life sort of understandable as the thread that it is, because each life is just a thread in a tapestry of creation. I mean, each of our threads are interwoven. We've got these karmic journeys and karmic threads where each of us is interwoven with each other, interwoven with our circumstances and situations. And some of it makes no sense at all why we're living it. I get questions all the time why people who are really beautiful and honest and caring and generous have these bad things happen to them, and these people who are crooks, liars and stealers and cheats seem to succeed. These things that make no sense while we're living them. I think that suddenly, if as we died, we were able to see not just our actions, but the way that our thread wove into the tapestry of creation, that would be really beautiful. And again, I can't tell you that this actually happens or not, but should it happen, I think that would be really beautifully kind of the universe to offer us that view from a distance of, oh yeah, this is how this thread of your life that is just coming to an end wove so beautifully into the tapestry of all of creation. And here's where that thread's going to pick up. In the next life, as a new thread through the same tapestry of creation. So that for me would be why we would see it. But what's even more important than that is, can you see it while you're living it? I mean, don't wait for the flash of an eye. Oh, this is what my life was about. Because unfortunately at that moment, there isn't anything else you can do about it. Neither what it was like, nor where you're going. It's just information for information's sake. The real question is, can you see it while you're living it? Can we open our eyes while we're living to actually see the way that our thread is weaving into the tapestry? To actually see the actions we are performing as we perform them, so that we don't find ourselves victims of our own actions, victims of the fruits of our own karma, but that we become very conscious co-creators of our life, of our world. So don't worry about what you're going to see for a very, very brief moment, possibly when you die. Focus on what you can see while you are alive. Open your eyes. Open your third eye. Meditate on the third eye. Open that third eye so you really can see the truth. And then what you see at the end of your life may or may not be there, but that's all right, because you will have already seen. You'll know where you're going. And as far as the guru, the guru comes, but it's not a one-way street. Means the guru is there, but we have to be open. You know, I think about it like water flowing out of a tap. But if we are a metaphoric bucket, and our bucket is upside down, we're not going to benefit from the beautiful water flowing out of the tap. But a lot of us are in that state where we are this upside down bucket. And we're praying and we're wondering, where's grace? Where's the guru? And it's there. Grace is there. The guru is there. In your life maybe already. But our bucket is upside down. And so this is why we do sadhana. It's why we introspect. It's why we work on being conscious and mindful, so that we can turn that bucket right side up and actually accept and absorb and see and therefore benefit from that flow of wisdom and grace, that presence of the Guru. And when you say, how do we know? You'll know in your heart. The mind likes to shop. It's what we're trained to do. So the mind is used to sort of sizing people up. And sadly, we do it even with gurus. And you get a lot of people these days sort of guru shopping. Well, this one can do this, and this one can do this, and this one is... You're not going to find a guru through guru shopping. All that's going to do is keep you out of your heart so you don't actually feel the presence of the Guru. Instead, get out of the head, get into the heart, and feel, is there a light that I feel in me? And this is an important distinction. The light that the Guru shines isn't a light on the Guru himself or herself. It's not, look at me, aren't I so great, you should be my disciple. The Guru is the one who shines the light on us. And so it's not about getting caught up in charisma or a show of light. It's about actually the presence of the one in whose presence you experience the light of you. That suddenly, for the first time, you're able to see and feel you, the light of you. And that's the Guru.
This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week, and I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on OMTimes Radio.